welcome to The Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee. And today, I'm chatting with my guest is really the Unruly Records co-founder and a Baltimore Club pioneer, DJ Scottie B. Welcome to the podcast.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for pulling up to the function, as it were. Because it's more than just a regular podcast. It's a function. We're really trying to put out there Baltimore stories and go through like what Baltimore really is. And I think one of the things that you specialize in, and you're one of the pillars of it, is club music. Let's just call it what it is, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I want to start off by asking this question. At a really high level, I gave that introduction, right? Can you give us the vital stats? Like, what's your background and describe your start in club music?
Well, is it clean?
Yeah, no, do your thing.
Get that disclaimer out the way, right? So, it just started like a lot of, it started off being DJs, you know what I mean? And it wasn't no club music. And I kind of started even before rap music started, like really like late 70s. I was 10, 11 years old. I wanted to be a DJ. I always, in school when we had plays, I wanted to be the one with the record player, like, and play the songs for the plays, like always. So anyway, you know, it just started as being a DJ, and really club music at its core kind of was like a small version of how dudes was DJing. Mm-hmm. That's why they say, what sounds like house music, but also sounds like Miami bass, but also sounds like hip hop, and also like a whole, because in Baltimore you had to play all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, and Shawn was at Fantasies, mm-hmm. and I was at Godfrey's right here, 2 doors down.
Station North.
Yeah. And Station North was a whole lot different then.
Yeah.
So, you know, Fantasy, Signals was around the corner. You know what the garage is? It was 2 doors. It was against the alley on that same little small block.
Got you, yeah.
And Wayne Davis on Thursday nights used to DJ. You know, he has a whole, that's who you need to interview him. He's got a whole history by itself. But the Thursday night at I just said the damn name. I can't, at Signals was ended up kind of being the spark for Fantasies.
Okay, yeah.
And you know, Godfrey's was here for many years. You know, it was the first integrated jazz club in Baltimore.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that was way before me, but not as far back as it should have been. And it just kind of started off. It wasn't no mission, because, you know, music is art, and it's like, look, I said this so many times about the kaleidoscope, and the kaleidoscope has 6 colors in it, and you could twist it and get millions and millions and millions of different things out of a few different things. So it just kind of like evolved into, you know, dudes in the UK were doing something that we liked, and hip house came out, and it was just a perfect storm. Like, boom, hey, yo, we need to loop this and that. And it really is that simple. Like, Technique was doing it real early, and Shawn and me and a couple other people, like, we would it really starts from DJing and just wanting to have something new. Yo, I bet you if we loop this, it'll work. If that, you know, we're always looking for the next thing. Yeah. And that's really kind of where it is. You know, you from Baltimore, it's really not called Baltimore Club. It's really called club music.
That's a distinction. Like, look, when I go out of state and I go to anything that they're playing something, I'm like, okay, that sounds like, you know, as a Baltimorean, it's just like, is that club music I'm hearing? And, you know, I start sweating. And I remember they were like, we got some Jersey house playing. And I was like, boo, audibly. and the guy on stage, he was like, I think we have someone from Baltimore here. We have Baltimore club music playing. And I was like, thank you.
You know, the only thing, you know, people start like, people in Jersey think that they started. Well, I mean, look, it's been there 20 years. If it's 17 years old, I mean, you can't expect them to think nothing different. Yeah. But when club music started here, it wasn't like we were discussing the Beneath the Beat thing, and it wasn't toward dancing as far as like I'm battling him. Mm-hmm. Like it was, it's like you're playing music in a club. Mm-hmm. You know, the Benjamins is hot. Yeah. Biggie got a hot song. there's some hot house song, Follow Me, whatever.
Yeah.
And Griffin Bootman got a hot club song that just hit. So it wasn't like, it wasn't pigeonholed.
Mm-hmm.
And the night, it wasn't people looking at the DJ while they're trying to dance. It was just a dance floor like you see in an old disco clip.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it was a part of. So it was a lot different.
Yeah, and I think as we progress and something changes from one like generation to a next, it's gonna have some things that just change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are looked at differently or what have you. It's like, as you were kind of touching on, it's like, well, you're of a certain age group, so that's going to be your knowledge base there. So in it, from your standpoint, for those who don't get it, tell them what it is. Just tell them what Baltimore club music is.
It's just it's a spark, it's something that gets you going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a feeling. It's music. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not music. It's not background music for the latest TikTok video. Stuff is just different now. I'm not mad at it, but it's just different. It's really different now, and everything. It seems like nothing is really grassroots anymore. It's like you're not just making a song because you think it's gonna hit at the club. Yeah. Because it ain't no clubs. It ain't a whole lot of stuff now, but...
Because that's not the way that when people talk about something like breaking, right? It's like, you need to have this many streams on Spotify or whatever for it to break, or people, as you were touching with TikTok, people have to discover it on air, but it's not breaking in a club, to your point. That kind of culture has changed and has lessened, I think.
It makes it tough. Yeah. It really makes it tough because... I used to be out like, are they gonna fight to this? If they ain't gonna fight to this ain't hard enough yet. Or like stuff like that. Shit. Like we were all, to be honest, we were all breakdancers.
Really?
In the 80s, Griff was a breakdancer. I mean, I didn't know them then. Yeah. I was a breakdancer. I knew Class. We knew each other as teenagers because somebody from where I lived moved to where he lived, and I went to visit him, and I met Class. And we were all 16, 17 years old. We were still breakdancing. Nice. Yeah, so.
And then I think the other thing about it, right, that is like, looking at that timeline or what have you, it's multiple elements that make up what hip hop, right? You got like breakdancing, you have graffiti, you have the MC, you have like a DJ or what have you. That's 2 of the 4 main ones that people talk about. And that's a thing. That's the thing that gets left out. It's just like you can play something, it can break, and I know nothing, right? However, I make fun of people when they pull out, like, I call them DJ iPad or what have you. When I see someone pull that out, I'm like, all right, this is what you were doing. We'll see where this goes.
It's, I don't like with the younger people, mm-hmm. I don't discourage them from doing exactly what they're doing. Yeah. Because we were doing what we was doing just because we wasn't listening to the Temptations. Yeah. Because our fathers did. My father liked Ella Fitzgerald. Yeah. And my mother died when I was really young. My father died when I was a teenager. But my memories are with him. Yeah. So I reference him a lot. But he liked Ella Fitzgerald and Temptations and that kind of stuff. I wasn't listening to that because he was listening to it. And we're all rebels. Like we grow up, we want our own identity.
Yeah, I will say when I was working with my dad when I was like a teenager, high school going, I was like, you don't know anything, Dad. That
Not
energy.
Not a damn thing.
And I remember he would put on like Morgan State Radio. He would listen to jazz, and I was just like rebelling against jazz. Terrible. The most reckless, whatever like rap music was playing, I'm just blaring it in my ears.
My father hated that stuff.
And then now, like, jazz is fire. Like what am I doing? Yeah.
The funny thing is, so I referenced Godfrey's right here, right? Yeah. Club Charles is across the street. Yeah. My father didn't know nothing, right? Nothing. Yeah. He hung in there in the 50s. So he knew all about God. It was called the Famous Ballroom when it was the jazz spot. Yeah. He knew about all this. And he was already gone when I started working there. But it's just weird. You really think your parents don't nothing? They even on the same block you've been on.
Come on, man. You know what you was doing.
This city ain't changed that much.
So I want to talk about this one right here. So there are mainstays of Baltimore club music that have been sampled and referenced in recent years. There are other ones I don't really know, but I know I've seen more and more kind of like, that sounds familiar. I grew up with that song that plays in the club here, when that happens. And sometimes it's not really acknowledged that this is a Baltimore thing. Like I heard this song. You don't know about this song? You know about Baltimore Club? You hear these mainstream people and they don't really touch on it. So where are your thoughts at when you hear something that is a mainstream song that has obviously sampled something Baltimore Club but didn't really pay homage to it?
I don't really trip on it, to be honest, because at the end of the day, that's what we did, right? Yeah. We took our thing, we switched it around or didn't, you know what I mean, or whatever, and I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to do them. Mm-hmm. Between the Sheets went from the Ozzy Brothers to whoever, the Biggie to whoever, to Gwen Stefani. It has so many different variations on it, and if it's a hit at the beginning, it's always going to be a hit. I mean, I really like it. Don't. I mean, we could say. Oh man, well Diplo and them made I forget this. It was him and Switch. Yeah. And they made something and they sold it to Beyonce. Mm-hmm.
I mean, my thing goes like. Because I'm in this kind of spot and I'm not in that scene, right? To say like, yeah, this is how I would feel about it. But when I see like attempts that feel like it's a little too close, like that Lizzo show, like, Big Girls or what have you. And I'm like, if they're not using Watch Out for the Big Girl at all in here, if that's not the intro, I don't care about the show.
Right. No, I hear you. Like, of course, that's came up in the last couple of years with us like every other day. You want to
see us represented. I think that's the thing that
she straight sampled it, and yes. Jimmy, rest in peace, as he passed away about a year ago. Yeah, and to me, that's the shame part is that he passed away, and he ain't really gonna be up there. I mean, because trust me, if Jimmy was. They had the demo track to that 2-3 years ago. They were playing on an award show or something. He was around then. Yeah. Trust me, when Jimmy was around, because he is. So I just wish he was here to just say what he want to say. But I mean, whatever. Let her have her fun with it. I mean, it's nothing. If she want to acknowledge something or not, they'll take a letter off of it and say, this ain't the same.
Oh yeah,
thing.
They absolutely changed it because it's like girls with like 3 R's, no I, and I was like, that's fine. I guess I think what we fall into here and like in Baltimore, it's like, yeah, we know, but at the end of the day, like there's a push, in some pockets or what have you. Some folks who are like younger who are like in this spot and they're like, yo, how can we make this like from a legislation standpoint, like this is ours. You know how like DC did the thing, don't mute DC, and made go-go music their official music.
Didn't that start with that phone store was mad at it was something. I start to forget stuff now, but I thought that started with a phone store was playing go-go outside of the store, and the residents upstairs got mad that it was too loud or something, and actually, it went all the way to court. Yeah. They had to turn the music off.
I remember they had this push for it because I think from what I was reading, they had this thing in like New Orleans of like don't mute Noya or have you. And I think that it was this push to make like bounce, like outside of having jazz, obviously, they're like official music. And certain things are like they are ours. And it's like we should be acknowledged for what's ours instead of having, other spots kind of say, this is really ours, though, because, identity is a thing. And I think, we know it here. We know what's ours here. But people act like they don't know what Baltimore's contributions are culturally and artistically. And that's the thing. I think that's where I'm kind of at. It's just like when you hear that song that you like or what have you, you need to know that the roots are here. So it's much more than gun violence and drugs or whatever,
I just wish that it was more. I understand it because, I was playing music before club music, obviously, right? But I just wish that, and I understand that people go through their phases, or they like what they like and they don't like what they don't like, or stuff goes through waves, but I just, it really, to me, it kind of don't matter what somebody can acknowledge in Cleveland if we not even really playing it that much here, like, to
That's
me.
true.
You know what I mean?
That's true,
I'm not beating that dude over the head over it, because they probably playing it more than we are at some point, or some kind of version of it. I mean, it kind of, I would rather people be artistic with it and do their thing, and then maybe we can have some conversations with people about, who struck John, about who did first what, and all that. Like, I mean, I just wish it would just continue in some form. It ain't got to be 1991, somewhere at Shake and Bake or something. It ain't got to be that. It's not going to be that, because the inspirations of it and where it ain't going to be the same.
And the climate's not the same either. Like,
at all.
What that scene look like? Because you mentioned 1991. I immediately am thinking, like, there are things that we should not be saying because I'm like 6 or what have you. And it's just club music blasting from our neighbors, like in the projects. And my dad's like, y'all can't say that. Y'all can't say what they're saying in that song. And my mom is like, this is great.
That's funny. They still go on. If you do a school party, you play the clean ones.
Yeah.
And the kids they say the dirty ones, and the administrators come over to you like, what are you doing? You playing dirty? No, not. Yes, you are. Listen to it. So why are they saying the other one? Talk to their parents. Don't talk to me. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
So in thinking about club music, and it's kind of the thing I touched on. And I think you touched on this. Your hope is to kind of see it kind of continue, see club music as a genre, because as we touched on, Baltimore music is club music, hard stop. So, you want to see that kind of continue and not be something that's just, that was something we did, but that to continue.
Yeah, and younger music is a young people's game. Mm-hmm. So young people really got to take that by the horns. I mean, whatever they do, that's their business. Yeah. It'd be nice to see them do a little something. But they got to have the inspirations for it. Like there was like a house scene going on, and just this hip house scene, and It Takes Two came out in 1987 or whatever. It's a year like that kind of was. The stuff just came from 2 different places and ended up meeting in the middle. So whatever people take their inspirations from, good.
Yeah.
And not to bash any kind of supporters of certain music, but the more that older people kind of hold on to stuff, they kind of make it exclusive instead of inclusive. Mm-hmm. And that kind of, even the younger people that would like to be a part, eventually they get tired of that. And they get tired of being pushed away, and you don't know, and this is it. You're never going to be so-and-so. And
it's that rebellion thing you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, but eventually people, what, fuck y'all, I'm going to do something else.
Literally, yeah.
Oh, for sure. The funny thing is, so Wayne Davis was always the guy. Mm-hmm. And I was like the people in the next little age group older than me, like generations and socially are like 4 years. Mm-hmm. Then it's not 20, it's 4. It's school. It's basically, You
were a freshman, I was a senior.
Right. So my cousin was 3-4 years older than me. All his crew went to the original Odells. Mm-hmm. Wayne Davis was the DJ. This was in the mid 80s, early 80s, whatever. And I was trying to DJ in the neighborhood, and all they ever used to say was, you'll never be Wayne Davis. And of course I never was. Never became that, but I became okay. And it was always in my ear and in my head. And when I got to meet him, it was the greatest thing ever. Yeah. I went to see Shawn down Fantasies, and Wayne was at the door, and he took me to the side and said, the first couple of times, no, he didn't. Like, he'd take my money, look at me sideways, because he knew what I was, because I'm coming from Godfrey's. Mm-hmm, still $10, right? Like, or he would say, "What? Like, I play over there." Said, "No, that's cool, right? $10, right? Or whatever." So he let me in. He give me the side out, let me in. And one day I come, he pulls me inside. I said, "You know what? I really just been really checking you out and testing you, right? You know you could walk here anytime you want. You could walk in here, but I was just testing you, see how you was, and you cool, so you good.
Yeah.
But Wayne is just a great guy, and to be honest, you know, it's stuff I was still finding out about him when they interviewed. I think the guy that owned the Hippo. Mm-hmm. The one guy owned the Hippo the whole time it was open. Oh, wow. I didn't even know any of this, right? 1971 it opened. They closed, 3-4 years ago. Yeah. Same guy owned it.
Wow.
And Wayne was his first damn DJ. Like, Wayne, we already know you made Odell's and shit. You played around the corner here, right? You opened up Fantasies. You opened up the Paradox. Yeah. You fucking even was playing it down. I mean, damn.
Like, save some for us. So that actually is like a nice segue to this, right? Talking about that early experience and kind of encountering someone that, you know, in Wayne that, you know, was in those spots, and there was that comparison thing that was there. You'll never be him.
No comparison, like the crush you, like, nah.
That trolling thing, like, you'll never be this. Like, that's how you compare it. So talk to me about kind of being in that spot. I think when you're in a spot where you're kind of a pioneer, you're figuring things out, and I think you touched on that earlier. Like, I think club music here is one of those things that really represents how we approach things in a very DIY sort of way. We will figure out how we're going to do something.
The milk crate on the telephone pole.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have a philosophy when it comes to maybe a mentoring sort of relationship? Because as a person that is a pioneer in something, you've like learned the tricks of the trade, learned from the mistakes that you may have made, and then you see other people coming in. Do people ever reach out to you like, what do you think about this? How can I do this?
I tell them do what they like.
Yeah.
Do what you like. Do whatever you think you like or good or work, you do it. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about what I think. Not that the way that you asking me, like, as a DJ, you give it out, and hopefully the DJs like it and the people like it, and I'm DJing and I like it, you know. Yeah. But if I don't, as far as like anything kind of going past that, first off, you're thinking too far. You know, just make something for now. You know, make something you think that it's going to work with whatever it is that you're doing now. Yeah. And if you like it, somebody else going to like it. It's somebody else going to like it. And you know, kind of like when DJs make those kind of musics, it's they kind of there's a feeling from something else that they're playing already. You know, like they just didn't come up with some really out here new shit. It's something that you playing, or you wouldn't have been playing it, and you wouldn't have been making this.
Because I had I think the last time I had an interview here was with DJ Son, and we were just talking about his stuff, and did this thing at the he was spinning at this spot I was in. I was there for dinner and stuff, and he's spinning, and my girl, like, she's 12 years older, and she goes, she's like, hell yeah, you playing some early 90s. She's like, hell yeah. And I'm looking at him, I was like, he's not that old. So I'm trying to like think like, what is your reference point here? And he's like, that's all the shit I was listening to.
I just met him not too long ago. That's the kid that with the curly dark hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just met him recently, yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. And but you know, just to your point of you'll find, like, play what you like, and then the people are gonna find you. I'm there. We're about to hop in the elevator. She's like, nah, hold up. I got to go talk to this DJ real quick because I fucks with what he's doing.
Because you're going to play it different.
Yeah.
Like people, like they'll say, I had people say to me like, you know, you like what you playing. How you know I like what I'm playing? Maybe I don't like it, right? They say, oh, nah. Like you like what you playing because you could tell by the way you playing it. You know, and I always... I tell people, you know, nowadays if people say, oh man, do you want to hire me to play reggae? And those motherfuckers don't know nothing about reggae. So they'll call a motherfucker and get a crate of MP3s. Like, you don't even know what you playing. Like, what you looking on a chart and they rate them songs 1 through 10, and you playing the 10th one first and the first number one last. I mean, I recommend that y'all don't do that. Don't take the gig, give it to somebody else. I mean, there's one thing to challenge yourself. There's one thing just to them people. You're not doing them. You're doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that people can always tell because anybody can get the top 10, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be that song that maybe ain't even a hit, but is a hit in this venue right here, or to these people that hired you, like that group that went to Lake in 1991. You know what I mean?
So that brings me to this, because I don't want to leave this point because I think it's interesting. So I've heard, like I've had a few DJs on, a few people who are just playing music in this sort of setting. What does that process look like when you're like, all right, I'm booked to do this, like, these are the songs I'm thinking of. How do you go through that process of, and like, based on whatever type of event you're DJing at or what have you? How does that process look?
Slightly like, I might got a little bit more easier than others because people might hire me because I've been doing it for so long, and they're my age, and they want some you playing like y'all did in this year, or just do what you do, or you are my guy. And so I understand going in, a lot of times it's almost like what the hell I want to do. Yeah. Even though what I want to do ain't really much different from what somebody my age wants to hear.
Right.
But it just watch everybody that comes in. It really, that don't never change. Like reading the crowd never changes. Like that's such the biggest part of it. Like you don't even got to mix records. Of course, I'm going to kill you if you don't mix records, but like you really don't have to. Like if you're playing the right song at the right time for the right person. Like a lot of dudes, like we had these little games we play on the cell phone. Like we send each other songs back and forth. What about this one? Oh, got you. Fucked you up with this one. And we send songs back and forth, right? And a friend of mine named Jamal is really close, right? Like brothers. For real. And like you always get me. I say, yo, don't you understand something? I do this for a living. You rap. I don't. I play records. I say, don't you? I said, I go into any club that I'm regular. Yeah. And I mean, I know so many people personally. I know I know the songs they like. Like, I know what she likes. I know what Mary likes. I know what Jane likes. I know what Steve likes. I know what Jamal likes. I remember this shit. I don't even remember names. I remember the songs that people like. And
it's like picking out somebody's like coffee when you go there to the spot. It's like, iced coffee, no cream.
Easy, right? So he's like, man, we worked in record stores together for 20 years. We partied at the same place. I was DJing for him then. Like, dude, you too easy. This game ain't even fair. It's really not fair. Like, I know what you like, and if I don't even know that you like it, I take the chance knowing you like because I know the type of shit you like.
So. With that, I got two questions left. I want to ask. So tell me about like being in that role of being around in this kind of elder statesman role where you're the head of like a record label now. Tell me about like how that has been in comparison to like maybe where you started out. Like how has that like progressed? Has that affected? You being in this DJ, you out there playing records? Is it more administrative stuff? Tell me about that part of it.
No, because Shawn always took a more administrative role. Shawn Caesar, and that's the partner, co-founder's partner. So I always like to be out front. And not famous out front, but I like to play music. I still like, he says, man, this motherfucker still likes DJing. He tells people like this, motherfucker will still want to go out on Saturday night to a hole, right? And play trap music or whatever gets people going. Right now it's trap music, right? So, and it's been. So, because I like the energy. Yeah. The energy is what does it for me, and these people are 40 years old, 50, they listen to the same shit their kids do, saying without going into people's opinions about that kind of stuff. I like the energy, like, and so whether it was our label with our songs, or the next guy next to me's label that we supposed to be in competition with, I don't give a damn. If this shit hot, I'm gonna play it. Yeah, and or if it's the like Future album came out today. So if it's going to be some shits off of his shit, and it's going to be, I can tell you that now. I mean, it's just, no, it's separate. In my mind, I can't bring them together because DJing I can promise you that the DJing part's going to go, for me, is going to go longer in my life.
Yeah.
With an intensity, you know what I mean? And with a care.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the anytime you talk about Unruly Records or Scottie B or Shawn, Caesar or whoever, any of them it's automatically going to be people going to have their own notions up front. It's going to be club music. It's going to be 124 beats per minute. It's going to be whatever. It's going to be some half house stuff, half hip hop stuff, whatever. And that's great, right? But with the DJing, if there's a new song today, then if it's hot, then I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to go in there and play this shit on Saturday, like right behind Dun Dun or whatever Lil Baby had out last week. I don't know why. Like some people, more than one person said, this shit don't get old. No, never, never, never. I like the challenge. I like people that never saw me before and say, look, who the fuck is this? Is this? Because he don't. No. I love the challenge. I love to bring that person to me by the end of the night. That shit'll never. I don't think it'll ever go away.
No, that's the thing, and it's an idea I've been playing around a while on this podcast. Of you ask people like, "What's that calling for you?" And then it's kind of what you said earlier about when someone's like, "Yeah, you like that song, you like that," because I can see how you're playing.
I know. I swear, I still play a song. And I look around and see, because you know you get some of the same people every week. Most of the time, you get a spot that gets hot, and people, you know. Or you know him, look, that motherfucker. I'm gonna get his ass, and you know, then the next week it's like stealing candy from a baby because you already know he liked it. You play it and you go crazy. You're like, you the greatest thing ever, right? And then the next record, of course, you play some shit they don't like and you're the worst thing ever. The next record, you back being the greatest shit ever because you bring it back because you know you gotta bring it back, so you play something else that's a standard record, right? And you're the greatest thing. As I tell, that is one thing I do tell young DJs: the motherfuckers come with you talking about you suck because of one record. They'll do that over one record. Yeah, pay it no attention. Say, my man, I got you. That's all you gotta do. Get them away from you nicely. Like you gonna take it. That's all you gotta do. Don't worry about that shit. Like DJs get caught up in, if I play this one record that I don't know about, I'm gonna lose everything. I'm gonna lose the dance. I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna sit your weak ass down. I mean, certain songs like Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares.
That's always gonna.
Dude, I was 40 something when that came out, and that might be my favorite record of all time because of that. But I know I was the first person that played it from the beginning.
Yeah.
They were scared to play it from the beginning. Are you DJs?
Yeah.
Let the shit do this. And the crowd.
So you go back and you look at, like, I dive in, part of it is Spotify, but I dive into stuff like, I still have like a playlist of stuff that I was just Shazamming one night because I listen to freestyle music a lot or what have you. And as my girl mentioned, she's like, you know, these songs don't have titles. It's just Puerto Rican song number one. And that's literally what it is. So I like to find those things, and I just have like a playlist of stuff and I'll just dive in. But some of these songs because we had this notion that, and I think this is partially because of Apple, a song is 3 minutes. And it's not. When I find something that's like 7, 8, and that's the other cut, I'm listening to that one because that's one is where you're going to get that roller coaster. It's going to rise. You get that musicality that was there from like classical music almost, when you're like, oh, this has an overture. This does things versus it's just a straight. I'm not probably saying it in the. No,
you are.
But it has a straight thing, and I remember back in when Dreams and Nightmares, when that came out, it was that's when I think it's a class of music that's just kind of changed. Like I was listening to a lot of stuff like 2010, 2012, in that time frame. I was doing a music review podcast. And now it's just like, I'm going to find something, but the genres are so blown out now, and I'm finding stuff that's old. I'm one of those kind of listeners, right? So if someone throws on, so it's like, hell yeah, where's that Shazam button now? Oh, shit, hell yeah. But, you know, people just like certain things. It's like, cool, play that shit, and then play it in the right way, bring people in, win people over.
People are like, the funny thing is, and I'm not saying I really overthought it to this degree.
No.
But that was the first song on his album, right? The DJs in the last 20 years haven't been given songs early. They get it at the same time that they send it to Joe Smith,
so they're not breaking
Alice Miller, because it's the promotion part to it now is the same. They press send, it goes to everybody. The DJs, they ain't got to worry about them playing it or not, right? And so when, say me, I heard Dreams and Nightmares, Joe Smith had already heard it, and Alice Smith already heard it, and whoever already heard it. And it was the first song on the album.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they pressed play. The song went through the slow part, and they ride the car, and they went, and they didn't hear it the way the DJ was afraid or not to play it. They already knew the shit, but the shit, he wasn't the first person that did that.
Yeah,
Lil Wayne did it, and the beat build.
Yeah.
But it didn't hit the same. That shit's a masterpiece.
And then the other thing about Dreams and Nightmares, it had that resurgence, right, when they won the Super Bowl. Because it was just like,
that got him out of jail.
Yeah, that got him out of jail. Here
because
you go.
it was like you watching the Super Bowl and the Eagles going to come out. When you said, we know they get ready to play Dreams and Nightmares.
Yo.
They gotta play. We know they get ready to play. There's nothing else to play. I mean, this is the unbelievablest. You're playing Brady. It's the most unbelievable point. Like, this is so perfectly set up, except he's not here to sing it, right? But at least to play it, they play it. And of course, like, it was unbelievable.
Shut down a whole city.
Look, that might have been my favorite Super Bowl moment, and I'm a huge Ravens fan.
Yeah.
But you had to know, like, they were like, man, he been in jail. Let his ass go. All right, you know what? Because he really should have been there to sing the shit, right? He's not hurting nobody. He's on a probation violation for a dirt bike. I mean, come on.
Let's be real.
I mean, he's 30 years old. He's going to come out, and he's not going to ride the dirt bikes no more. Trust me. He's done with it. He's not going back to jail over dirt bikes.
He's just going to do it in Baltimore in a fictional movie. That's about it.
Right.
Okay. So that was fire. So that's kind of the end of my real questions. But I have rapid fire questions for you. So if you want to hit these, I just threw one in there because I thought it was funny.
Keep going.
All right. So here's the first one. What is your you've played everywhere. What is your favorite venue to play music?
It was this. It was Godfrey's. It definitely was. You know what I mean? I mean, the Paradox was great, but I was a guest. Yeah. Right? I mean, I was a guest hundreds of times.
Yeah.
But this wasn't the first place I played, but it was the place where I got my name really going all over the city. Yeah. I played West Side places, and I went to school, and of course I knew everybody because I went. But when it came here, it was a whole different thing. This place already had Frankie here. This place was already been on the map. You know what I'm saying? It's a convergence of circumstance. Do you want to fight the sound man? They all got fired. They wanted somebody else that I was actually playing under. They couldn't find him. The dude said, I can get his understudy, so I bring him here one night. I'll find somebody else later. Yeah. I played. Dude said, you know what? I want you to come here tomorrow. Yeah.
You're the guy now.
And I was the guy then, right? And then, some of the people now already knew some of the crowd, but some I didn't. And, the shit went from, when I went, I'm not saying it was 0 people in there. It wasn't, right? But it went from a few hundred to 1,500 every Saturday, and imagine right here, after hours.
That's insane. Yeah,
but that was then. Everything was, Signals was after hours. Odell's was closed. Yeah, before the Shawn Marshall Odell's. This is a period when they were closed, and this was after hours. Fantasy was after hours. I mean, right here in the middle of Charles Street, Baltimore City is after hour. Yes, a hip hop after hour. You can imagine they weren't too happy with it, right? When you see the NWA movie and that tour. Yeah, the dude that owned this, the son was running it. So the son, named Duke, and he had at first. He used to book shows. He would come and he said, well, whatever Scottie say, I'm going to bring them, right? Yeah. Jungle Brothers, right? I'll house you out. Yeah. They here performing it, right? Special Ed, I got a mate. He's here performing. EPMD, here, right? Chub Rock, Caught Up, here. Latifah, when she was wearing the head wrap. Yeah. Her, Moni Love, 45 King, Ladies First, all here.
You're just describing everything on my girl's playlist, shit, by the way.
Right? So everything was there, right? And then I said, dude, get NWA. He books them, right? Yeah. He books them, then they want to add somebody, The shit got too big for this. So what he did was he bought the tour date and had it at the arena.
Oh,
and
shit.
they came, so that's what you see in the movie is he was part of that. And after the show, they got this whole shit blocked off the city, right? They come up here in limos on top of them. Right here, the history's right here. So they come here and they come in the club. The shit's so fucking bananas. Cool see when Glamorous Life was at its peak.
Yeah.
Christmas night, 1989 in here. Wow. And it was so many people because the sidewalk here is wide.
Yeah.
The girls all the way up to North Avenue, one line going this way, and the dudes all the way down there by the train station, the whole line thick, shutting off streets and all that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's about an hour before the clubs, and it's snowing, and people don't give a fuck. So I wasn't even driving it, and me and my guy, we walking up, like, what the fuck is all these people? I mean, this for this. So we can't even get in. Yeah. We the DJs, we can't get in. And they had to take the hinges because the police came and said, look, this got to open at 10 o'clock. Like, no. It was like 8:30. They said, if this don't open now, it's shut down. There's too many people. It's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
He said, so they took the hinges off of the doors and took the doors off because they couldn't push them open to open. Wow. No, this shit was, but this city had,
Hold on a second.
Like everything that Baltimore has a part of, like it's there, I mean, people gonna die and their memories gonna go with them. Yeah. And of course, Baltimore, like people say, don't you got any video when the club music first started? No, nobody in Baltimore had money for a video camera.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
This ain't New York. This ain't New York. But nobody had it.
But in that same estimation, right? Like, I'm sure it's fictionalized, but I think there's some reality to it. That show, The Get Down, when they had like the fictionalized version of I think it was Kool Herc, and he was like, "Yo, don't record none of my shows." He's like, either you were there or it didn't happen. And that's kind of like a thing. It's like sometimes you don't need to document everything. You need to have people to tell that story, right? Who experience that lived experience sort of thing. But, we're too focused on, let me snap this
Seeing
versus
shit, right?
living in the moment or what have you, and then experiencing that and enjoying that. Because I'll put it this way. I went to the Smokers tour, I want to say it was like maybe 2012. And I was there to see Currency. He had just broke his ankle, so they put like what looked like his living room on the stage, and he was just rapping on the couch. It was wild, and like Big Crit was there, and Method Man was the headliner, and he had said something, and he was just like, "Yo, put your cameras away," and he was just already on that. He was like, "Yo, can y'all just be here and just enjoy?" And he's like, "Don't care about what other people are looking at you, how you dancing or whatever." He's like, "Just enjoy your shit." And I remember he threw a towel out there when he had like wiped the sweat off, and I'm using my 6'4" frame. I Odell Beckham Jr. that joint, and I kept the towel. So yeah, it was a thing, and you just got to be there to experience those things.
We were we used to have a party at the Metro Gallery on Mondays. Yeah. And Pharrell came, right? Wow. So I met Pharrell before, right? Yeah. This is when the club music was in the Diplo stage, right? So of course he knew about it. And I had met him. What happened was I was working in Mondawmin at Inner City Records, and he wanted to meet me. He comes in Mondawmin, right? Out of place, right? Because he's so he comes and we rap for a while, right? Cool. He said, "Come back, whatever, something." So then we're having a thing, and he comes, and me and him are standing there talking, and it's like a whole line of motherfuckers taking pictures, right? And he's pissed. He's so pissed, right? He's like, "What the fuck?" He said, "If y'all want a picture, just tell me. I'll give you the picture. But just don't be sitting here like you documenting shit. I'm trying to hang out with him." Yeah. Because it's my guy, and whatever. And I end up taking him to a strip club. I mean, because Jay and them
for some privacy.
Yeah, how about privacy in a strip club? Right? So J Class, they were doing 2 o'clock. I said, man, look, they're not these hipsters. They're not going to strip club. Trust me, I will take you somewhere they won't go. Right. So we ended up. I took them down there, and it was like 1:45. They closed, but that people seen him coming and they didn't want to leave. And ended up being kind of like he said, I said, look at the while because I'm not the strip club person. And he was good with it. He's like, I'm good. I don't know how late he was. They might have been that late, but yeah, like he was pissed about to pick it up because the shit was on Facebook. While we're standing there, the shit was already on Facebook, and
it's invasive, and it's like I get it, you know that, but it's like go about your thing. You're distracting.
You're trying to be cool with other people that ain't here. Like he really would have been intimate with you. You know what I mean? Like. Took the picture with the arm around you, the whole shit. You'd have had the moment, you'd have had the picture, everything. Yeah. Instead, you're taking some video of him talking to Scottie B and it's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, and you were getting cussed out. Now, if you cool with that, with him, I mean, it's whatever. But like, yeah, you're right. You're definitely right.
Let me throw these last ones at you real quick, and we'll wrap up on this. So, what is your least favorite beverage? Because, I mean, I've seen people like DJing. Beer. You hate root beer?
I just never got into root beer, yo. I'm a big soda person, too. Oh, my God. I'm so big with sugar and all that shit, right? Yeah. But I never fucked with root beer. I don't know why. Oh, and water. Oh, no, I can't fuck with water. Look, I can't. I love sodas. Man, look, man. I can't fuck with water. Like if I had to, man, stop drinking some fucking water. My kids, all of them say like, man, fuck y'all. I need some soda. Even if it's a diet soda, whatever. I need some flavor. I need a dark drink. I don't drink, right? Yeah. But my sodas and my beverages, I gotta have color. I gotta have something to it.
My girl's kid hit me with this because I like the Topo Chicos, like the seltzer water. And he's like, why you like spicy water, yo? I was like, mind your business, man. I was like, can I drink this, please? What is that? If someone were to sum you up as a DJ, and this is a rough question, but if someone were to sum you up as a DJ with one song, what would that song be?
Dreams and Nightmares. It's funny that shit didn't come out till I was 40-something years old.
Okay.
Because I really always learned to do what that song does. Mm-hmm. Like what that song does, a DJ's supposed to know how to do, which is to take you on that roller coaster.
You gotta build,
Build. Let it fall. Build, let it fall. Build, let it fall. Like we all learned that. Like, I mean, I would have. I mean, it's hard to even describe it, but no problem. Now, I'm not saying I played something crazy. Like I didn't play rock and roll songs in a club, but like a song with a certain energy, you just let it go. Like people look like.
Yeah.
Like a friend of mine said to me. And this was in Godfrey's. He said, the only time I ever saw a crowd, I don't even want to say the whole part because I'm not even that kind of person to talk like that. But anyway, the song was a song by Risa San Antonio, the Sounds instrumental. Mm-hmm. What they now call techno, but it was really house for back then. Yeah. And I played the acapella Like a Prayer Madonna, and nobody had did that, was doing that, and I did it, and he said that the whole crowd stopped dancing and looked up at the booth and started applauding. Like, I mean, I just like to kind of not, and you don't do the shit back to back because you kill the whole. Then it gets to be stupid, right? Mm-hmm. But every once in a while, you pull something out and you just do it.
Yeah, so. This is the last one I got for you. And I put this one in recently because I think it's great. So you said Dreams and Nightmares and that has the ties to Philly, right? To the Eagles. What would that Baltimore Ravens song be? Like next time we get that chip, what's that song going to be for us that just it hits, it has that energy, it's relevant to the city?
A little Scooter the Panda freestyle.
Fuck yeah.
The Panda freestyle.
I'm here for it. That's great.
Or Pull Your Guns Out, Miss Tony.
Okay, that's actually fire right there. That would work very well.
Because everybody there is going to, maybe not, but at any party I play, everybody knows it because they're a little bit older and they grew up with it. And that's the difference now. Like, everybody knew Tony. Yeah. Everybody knew. It was just it was an intimacy. Like, in Baltimore, it is really small. Everybody knows everybody. Yeah. And that's why the club music kind of first started off on neighborhoods and like Tony sometimes would say people's names in songs or just playing around or that shit was just so much fun. I mean, Like, I don't know, some shit can't be recreated.
No, and that's kind of the thing. Going back to, you know, what I was talking about earlier, like I like freestyle or what have you. I'm like, this is definitely a bygone era. This died in like the early 90s in terms of its peak or what have you. And you can only, if you want to try to tap back into that, because it's very much a time and an environment sort of genre, right? So when you have to tap back into it, it has to be, we're doing some special flashback whatever in Manhattan. And I'm like, yo, everyone here is like a lot older than me, but at the same time, it's like in that they're going to have a different reference point. Me, I have it second, third, fourth hand, but I still rock with it, you know, like heavy or what have you. And I feel like I've gotten old to a degree where I know that I did a talk at my my high school the other day.
Where'd you go?
City.
Did you?
Yeah. And
nothing wrong with City.
And I hadn't been there in 20 years, right? And I looked at it, I was like, yo, I graduated before any of these students here were born. I was so mad. And I know that they're doing, they do 2000s parties now. And I'm like, yo, our music is old now. We're trash. So with that being said, that's everything that I have for today. We got it. So I want to thank you for being on this podcast. And two, I want to invite and encourage you to tell the folks where to find you at online.
On Facebook it's Scott Rice, because you know they jinxed everybody out of their name, and like on the slick shit say, well, what's your name? Well, Scott Rice, you already know that. All right, the other shit got to come off, and you can't get it back, and you can't do DJ Scottie B no more. And
trash.
Come on, yo.
Let me get my shit.
They wouldn't do it, and so that's that. And DJ Scottie B 01 on Instagram.
So there you have it, folks. I want to again thank DJ Scottie B for coming on to the podcast. And I'm Rob Lee saying that there is art in and around Baltimore. You just got to look for it.